my model of thinking, you can do the stall, if you were to look at it, say, on your front plane, you could do it in, I call them channels. You could do it in one of 5 channels. Well, at a time, one at a time of the 5 channels. So you could either do it at the far out position, the elbow position, so like from the outside all the way to the elbow, from the elbow to the frame of your body, so the outline of the body, the far side of the body, the outline of the body, in line with the body, and then it could be on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when talking about an upstall, I think a really good place to start is with the U stalls. I call them a U stall because the shape that they make is, when you do it, that's a U. So I'm going from my far side here, so full extension on my left, to the second channel on my right. But you could go, I mean, at this point, I'll just be happy with you doing any version of it, right? So this is far side to midline, far side to midline, far side to midline. And then the reason I'm calling it a U is because that's the shape that it makes when you're doing it. I think that's a great place to start. Now, the question at hand might be, well, how do you get it to go up? How do you get it up? Unlike natural erections, this takes some effort. In my opinion, one way to look at this that's very useful is, so if I'm trying to do an upstall, imagining that there is a wall here, and I'm trying to follow the wall up like this. What I think is helpful is, as the poi is coming, right, so you're doing a rotation, right? As the poi is coming to the bottom of the rotation, you push the poi forward as you isolate your hand underneath it. So you quickly move your hand underneath, and then you push it up, which sounds crazy, but I think it works. So this is true. Right now I'm demonstrating in the inside stall, so from underhand, right? But it's true also for an outside stall. It's just that it's like this. When it's here, you isolate here and push it up. I like to think of this as the candy cane drill. So the U, after you have each one, you can do the U. But until you have that, you might want to start with the candy cane. So the candy cane is where you hook underneath and then you push it up. I think it can be helpful to reach lower so that you can get your hand underneath to push it up. Whether you're going underhand to the inside or underhand to the outside. And then the second half of it is, now you've gotten it up, what do you do? So if you don't yank it back soon enough, it will likely go over the top one way or go over the top the other. But you're looking to, at the point where it has no more momentum going up or down, which is called the 0 point, at the 0 point, you're looking to give it a tug to pull it back down and change the direction, if you're looking to change the direction. And that, again, is true if you're doing an outside or an inside one. I think when you start, it can also be useful to literally walk up to a wall and practice, again, empty wall, empty wall, empty wall, and practice trying to come up against the wall, because you have a surface, or you have a line. It's not some imagined place in space, and the wall will help manage the line of the poi as you do it. This would be me doing it to the outside from overhand. This would be me doing it to the inside from underhand. There's coming from the front, and then there's coming from the back. So front from underhand, or a back stall going up from overhand. Which, now here's a thing to note about this. There's multiple ways that you can do the stall in terms of the hand position, particularly when it's going back behind you. I'll show you from the side view. I can do it like this, where my palm opens to you. But I can also do it like this, where my palm goes up, right? Those are very different kinesthetically. They feel very different. They both have practical applications. and they're different techniques. I would say for a starting point, you would probably do open arm. Now, if you look at what I'm doing now, this is a side plane stall. Versus if you look at what I'm doing now, it's a front plane stall. For the purposes of what we're doing now, I would say start with the inside and outside stalls in the candy cane on the front plane. So try one going up from underhand, okay, and then try one going up to the outside from the other direction after you change directions. So up on the inside, up on the outside, up on the inside, up on the outside. And then I think relevant to what I'm seeing you do right now is you're doing your stall really high. Think about a candy cane that's upside down. So you're going to hook underneath and go up like this. You want to bring it down low. So you want to come underneath and push it up. 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 As opposed to starting here, because it doesn't leave you a lot of room to get underneath it. It doesn't, because you're so far up above you already. Again, I want to emphasize, I think what's critical about this is at the point where the poi is coming around the turn, so on the inside one, as it's coming up toward that point, you have to quickly move your hand underneath it so that you can get the force. Try and do a bad one now. So that as it's coming up, right, notice how it's going forward like that? My hand never got underneath the poi head. If you don't get under the poi head, you can't technically really get it straight going up. You have to get your hand underneath the head in order to push it up. Now, if you do like what I just did, where you over push, right, what I did was when it was going out here, I overextended my hand so it was going this way, as opposed to getting my hand underneath it. It's a very fine line to get it to go perpendicular to the ground. As it's coming around the turn, around the bottom, you want to hook underneath so that you can get your hand to follow it up, to push it up. It's also timing because you have to get underneath it at the right point in the rotation in order to be able to push it up. Yeah, that one was better. I know you over push like so that's what happens if you get underneath it, but then you don't yank it back down soon enough, it's going to fall over the top. So that's this. I still think getting it up is harder than getting it back down because gravity is helping you getting it back down. Let's switch hands and try the other hand. Same technique. I'm guessing it's your right hand. It'll be a little bit easier. So inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. Then, once you have the basic technique, what you can start focusing on is the 5 channels that I was talking about and aiming for where you want it to go. So like, I'm going to aim for the far channel out here, and then I'm going to aim for the far channel out here. Then I'm going to aim for the close channel out here, so right outside the outside of the body, and then I'm going to do the outside of the body here. Okay, and then this one I think is much harder. You're coming from here to get to the inline of the body, and then you're coming from here to get to the inline of the body. So aiming is another whole technique after you figure out how to get it up and keep it up the way you want it. After you've worked out your erections, then you can aim for a specific slot to slip it in. But true story, after you can maintain your erection, you can start aiming where it goes. Well, if you can't get it up, you don't what are you aiming toward? And then just because right now you look just because right now you look very excited. Be mindful that you're not accidentally doing a float. So the float is where the arm and the poi are moving together so that you're keeping a flat line versus the stall where you're coming under it and getting it. So the difference is the tether. With the float, the tether is horizontal to the ground the whole time. With the upstall, the tether is perpendicular to the ground, which is the intention. So you're trying to get underneath it to get a perpendicular line, whether you're going to the inside or the outside. So your hand isn't even getting underneath the ball. Try lower down. Yes, okay. And now when it's lower, same thing I was saying before. Poise here. You got to get your hand, you got to shoot your hand over quickly. And again, I think using a wall will help. If you have a hallway with 2 empty walls, that can be really useful because you can just do like this on this side and that on that side. What I recommend that you do is sandwich your drills. So probably in the beginning, your left is going to be weaker than your right. It may always be that way, but you can either like set a timer or you can count the number of stalls you do. So okay, I'm going to do 25 stalls, or I'm going to do 26 stalls with my left hand on my front plane, right? So 1, okay, 2, okay, 3, okay, 4, okay, and then switch to the other hand, but do 25 with your left, 25 with your right, then 25 with your left. If 25 feels like too many, start with something like 10, 10, and 10. Because this is such a prolific, like this, because this move can live everywhere on your planes, what you can also do is, instead of 3 sets, you do 3 sets on your front plane with each hand, and then do 3 sets on your side plane with each hand. All I demonstrated really was the front plane stuff, but it's the same idea here. So do your drill here and here as well, and then you will be exercising. I mean, because there's combinations for these in all planes, right? So there's like these on the front plane, but then there's like these on the side plane, right? So you wanna be working both of the planes. So I recommend that you do the drills both, like do sandwich the drills on the front plane and then sandwich the drills on the side plane. So if you do 10, 10, and 10 on the front plane, then 10, 10, and 10 on the side plane, that's 60 total. Also the kind of thing you could do indoors really easily, and your ceilings are not going to get in your way. That was like a lot of like ideas on how to get it done, but really ultimately it just takes sitting there and drilling. If you somehow manage to feel comfortable with it, you can be doing like just this one, where you're going, so one hand is going up, then down, up, then down, up, then down, and then the other one is going down, then up. So one goes down while the other one goes up. And so you can do it side by side where you cross over to the other side, or you could do it side by side where they stay on their own side, or you could do it stacked where one of them is on top of the other. I would say this is a good place to start with those when you have control of them enough. But also, again, got to get it up first.